there was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and I'm not going to talk about the rest. So just that's just what I saw. And I tried to help him, but
it was just senseless.
It was really senseless. Really, I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like a man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid. Mm-hmm. He was strong, and I know I'm strong too, but he's a little stronger. But he did a lot for our family and a bunch of stuff that we just don't recognize. And it's just like, especially throughout our friends too, like everyone knew, like he was the peacemaker. That's what I'm saying. He heard someone who really makes peace, really calms peace down. He makes everything sail smoothly. And because I get upset, but then he calms me down. He was just always there for me. So it's just really heartbreaking to see like how this happened.
WFAA has obtained new court documents revealing how Austin Metcalf was stabbed to death at a track meet in Frisco. Police say another teenager had fresh blood on his finger when they found him at Kirkendall Stadium.
The affidavit shows that when officers arrived, Karmelo Anthony told them he got into an argument with Metcalf, and when the arresting officer said he had the alleged suspect in custody, Anthony replied, "I'm not alleged, I did it."
But Anthony told officers he only acted in self-defense and asked them if Metcalf was okay.
Several witnesses paint a different picture, and Metcalf's father told Matt Howerton he is not buying the excuse.
I had a dream last night, and Austin came to me and said, "I'm okay." It gives me peace. Doesn't mean I don't hurt.
The last 24 hours, unimaginable for Austin Metcalf's father, his mother, his twin brother.
Right now, I'm really numb, and I really don't feel anything. I just have to function.
Metcalf, just 17 when he arrived at Frisco ISD's district track meet Wednesday. His final breaths taken before 11 a.m., police say, after being stabbed to death by a fellow Frisco ISD student, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, now charged with first-degree murder.
My world's a little shattered.
An argument over where Anthony was sitting while the meet experienced a rain delay sparked a confrontation between the teen and Metcalf. According to arrest paperwork, Anthony sitting underneath Metcalf's team tent. You could see it from the air when we flew over the crime scene. Metcalf from Memorial High, Anthony from Centennial. A witness telling police Metcalf told Anthony to move from under the team's tent because he didn't go to their school. The witness telling police Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." Investigators writing that Metcalf grabbed Anthony to tell him to move and that Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. When officers arrived, the knife was found and police say Anthony admitted to what happened, but said this to police: "He put his hands on me. I was protecting myself," even asking another officer if what happened could be considered self-defense.
What do you expect? If you're caught, the best thing you're going to do is try to lie your way out of it.
Metcalf's father telling me self-defense is not a reasonable excuse.
The truth will come out. There were too many people that were there that saw what happened.
Violence with teens over really stupid, petty shit is not a new thing. This does happen. This is an extreme version. A kid stabbing a kid dead because he's telling him to move. I mean, the mentality behind thinking you can stab someone dead over the fact that they're telling you to move, especially if you're in a spot where you're not necessarily supposed to be. Even if Austin Metcalf was a dick, which it doesn't seem like he was a dick, but even if he spit in the kid's face, you're going to stab him dead. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, obviously. You weren't there. None of us were there. But based on what I've heard, this kid just seems like he lives in a world where he's just very arrogant or something, like thinks he can stab someone and just get away with it. I don't think the kid's crazy. He just seems like, I don't know, life's a video game or something. Like you can just stab people if they're in your way. There's a deep problem in our society. And the racial aspect is being amplified by the media because they love divisiveness. They love racial divisiveness. And I've said this before, the main thing the media wants to do to divide our culture is they want to pit whites against blacks. That's their favorite thing to do.
Hello, everyone. We are about to approach and get started in a few minutes. So real quick, as we get started, so we can put some house rules together. If we can swing over here and swing across the wall, we have security that are here in the building. We have a blended of Dallas Police Department and security for the Next Generation Action Network. Let me make this very clear because I say this unapologetically. The Next Generation Action Network has never played with the safety and security of anything. We don't play those type of games, all right? We like to, whenever we're doing a protest or anything, everybody in the media know we don't play when it comes to safety and security. So we're going to ask one time forward, and ask you to slide over just one time.
This is footage of a conference that was held April 17th, 2025, I think just a couple days after the murder of Austin Metcalf by Karmelo Anthony. This conference is being held by an entity called Next Generation Action Network, which is represented by that guy you just saw in the suit. And they're, I guess, representing the family. And the whole thing's kind of odd. What is the purpose of this? You might ask initially, for the family to just speak to the public. We'll get more into that in a second. But you may have missed the very beginning there. This man here with the glasses, that's the father of Austin Metcalf. That's the father of the child that was just murdered by the son of the family who's holding this press conference. And this is a policeman. They called the police on him. Now, when you see this video footage out there, they don't really show this part as much. That part kind of gets edited out a lot. What happened? The father showed up and he didn't really do anything. He just sat there and was watching. And I think he said I believe what he said was he just wanted to represent his son's presence there. But he wasn't, arguing with anyone. He has it looks like a broken arm. Now look at the way the media is framing their coverage of this incident. Austin Metcalf's father escorted out after crashing the press conference. That's a kind of a really harsh way of putting it, isn't it? I mean, he shows up with his arm in a sling, with dark glasses, very somber, just standing there. And when the cops take him out, he walks out, obediently. Did you see him yelling and screaming and pushing the cops away? No. Now just imagine how the father of Karmelo Anthony would have responded had the roles been reversed, had Metcalf stabbed and killed his son. And then he went to a conference and the cops showed up and they said, you have to leave. He would have raised holy hell. He would have screamed at the top of his lungs. And there probably would have been like 10, 20 people backing him up. So, I just want you to think about the corner that the mainstream media has put us all in, and the way they've culled us and herded us into these divisive areas. Austin Metcalf's dad blasts white supremacists using son's death for political gain. So this is part of the media constructive narrative that's attempting to use this incident to make it all about racist white people versus, black victims. Now let's be clear. The victim here is Austin Metcalf, the kid who was murdered in cold blood by a black kid. It's not racist to say that. It's just a fact. But this is where the mainstream media has put us. They've put us in a situation where you're not allowed to say, a black kid stabbed a white kid in cold blood and should be punished. You're not allowed to say that without being called a racist, even though it's not racist at all. And so, you can see the media, they want to make this, they're trying to make this more about quote unquote white supremacists sort of attacking Karmelo Anthony's family over his son's action. They're trying to make it more about that than it is about the murderer and what he did. You see? Therefore, it doesn't damage the media narrative that basically all black Americans are victims and all whites are racist aggressors. That's why the media is all over this. And I think that's what's funding this conference here. I want you to think about the irony here, okay? What happened in the original incident? Karmelo Anthony was at a track meet and he sat down under a tent that was the other team's tent. It wasn't the tent that, he was really supposed to be under. I don't know how strict all that is. Maybe that's something that's understood. If you're a member of the track team, maybe you understand, like, you don't go and sit under another, especially if you have your own tent. We don't know all the details there, but anyway, Karmelo Anthony was sitting where he wasn't supposed to be sitting. He was asked to leave, and then they attempted to forcibly make him leave, and then he stabbed Austin Metcalf dead for trying to make him leave. He put his hands on me. I was acting self-defense. Now think about the irony of that versus them kicking this guy out. I mean, is he supposed to be there? Probably not supposed to be there, but it looks like a public event. Was there a sign above the door that said, the father, anyone related to Austin Metcalf's family isn't allowed to show up? I mean, you could arguably say that Metcalf's father had more of a right to be in that room, much more of a right, than Karmelo Anthony had a right to be under that tent at the track meet. Yet, Karmelo Anthony was able to stab to death Austin Metcalf to defend his position, but this guy, was simply escorted out by police. I don't know. I hope you understand the irony I'm pointing out there in this whole scenario. And this guy in the suit, when he's talking about security and stuff, he's talking about Metcalf's father, but he's not mentioning him by name. And he's like, yeah, we're serious about security and protecting the family. And he obviously knows that this doesn't look good. So he's trying to frame it. He's trying to reframe his position as someone of high moral character by saying this is all about, protecting the family, protecting the Next Generation Action Network. Kind of similar to how Karmelo Anthony was saying he was just protecting himself, when he responded by stabbing Austin Metcalf in the heart and killing him.
Wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what might happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a two-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
There's people out there watching this mother give this story, and some people are going to side with her and empathize with her just because of her skin color. And that's just a fact. The same way there's people on the other side of the aisle that will probably take the opposing viewpoint. Like, look at these people. They're just crocodile tears and it's all fake. Okay? So in the interest of keeping myself in the perspective of facts, let's just look at what she said. So first, she's saying her family's under attack, basically. Okay? Now, that may be true. She may be receiving death threats, and that sucks. But the fact is, and no one has disputed this, your son murdered someone over something really stupid. You can say, well, wait till it goes to court and wait till it plays out. Well, they didn't wait for the autopsy, to be read publicly in the George Floyd case. They didn't wait for the court trials to go through, Derek Chauvinoff, he wasn't given this, sort of, he's getting death threats, he's this and that. Everyone was like, oh, screw that guy. He's guilty already. I saw the knee on George Floyd's neck. He's already guilty. All this guilt was presumed about Derek Chauvin before the autopsy came out and showed that nothing Derek Chauvin did contributed, at least not apparently, to the death of George Floyd. George Floyd was saying, I can't breathe, before the cop even had him on the ground. George Floyd asked to be put on the ground. That's why he got on the ground. He wanted to go on the ground because he was overdosing on drugs. That's how he died. Anyway, I digress. I'm just trying to show you how the media was all about presumption of guilt in the Derek Chauvin case. But here it's all about, even though Karmelo Anthony said that he stabbed the kid and killed the kid, even though he said it and he already admitted to it, the family saying, oh, wait, no, give it a fair trial. Your son murdered someone and it looks very bad. And now you're making yourself out to be the victim because of the response of that. I mean, if your son hadn't murdered someone, you wouldn't be dealing with this. It's as simple as that. Do they deserve these threats? Maybe not, probably not. But did Austin Metcalf deserve to be stabbed and killed in the heart? Did his family deserve to have their son murdered over something so petty and stupid? The murderer's family is screaming louder and crying more publicly than the victim's family. Now, if you want to take sides just because of the color of skin of the party involved here, then you're basically a racist. You're someone who's not going to look at the facts, and you're just going to take sides according to skin color. And let's be honest, that's what people do. There are a lot of people out there that will play the race card and claim it gives them the moral high ground when it doesn't. Now, what else did she say? She talked about the Give, Send, Go account. Now, depending on when you're watching this, you may not remember or you may not have seen that there was a Give, Send, Go, a fundraiser for the family of Karmelo Anthony, where I think it was $250,000 were raised, something like that. And everyone was criticizing the family, saying, oh, they moved into a gated community. Oh, they just bought a new house. Oh, they just bought a new, limousine or whatever. Now, this mother, she's saying there's all these lies out there, okay? She's not saying exactly what the lies are, but she admits that the Give, Send, Go account exists. She admits it's there. She's not denying that the money is there. What she's denying is that they had used that money for anything. She's not denying that they were they had to move to a gated community. In fact, I believe they later say that they quote had to move to a gated community for protection. That's pretty convenient that they had access to a gated community. Where did the money come from to do that? You see, this kind of paints them in a worse corner, because now the question is, where did they come up with bail? Because initially the judge, I think, put the bail at $1 million, something like that. Then the judge reduced it to right about the amount that was raised in the Give, Send, Go, $250,000, I think it was. So if they don't have access to the Give, Send, Go money yet at this point, where did the money come from to bail out their son? Where did the money come from to move them to their safer location? Does this guy look broke? That doesn't mean their son doesn't deserve a fair trial. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm sure the woman is very distraught about what her son did. But it doesn't mean she isn't playing it up for the camera, because their legal case here clearly is going to be self-defense. That's going to be their legal case. This entire conference seems geared towards portraying this family as victims, and ultimately Karmelo Anthony, so that when they go in the courtroom, they'll have the public on their side. This is about getting the public on their side. And is it illegal? I don't know. I don't think so. But let's not sit here and pretend that it's moral or anything like that. Let's not sit here and pretend like something doesn't smell bad here.